A lot of people say annuities are complicated. Well, they actually are complicated. And so that's the whole reason why we brought to you already 2 full episodes on explaining annuities and how they work. And today we're bringing you episode 3. We hope you enjoy.
We're excited to be able to break down and help you to appreciate why you would ever consider an annuity, or maybe why you should not ever consider an annuity. That's up to you. What Merce and I are doing is simply just trying to help you to understand how they work. We hope you enjoy our episode, and we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you so bad that we actually created a way for you to text us any questions or things that you would like us to cover in future episodes. Our texting line is 984-207-1753. We would love to hear from you. Please text us your questions, text us your feedback. We will try our best to cover it in future episodes. But for today, we hope you enjoy our Annuities Part 3. We're so happy to have you with us today on Wednesday for our Retirement in Action podcast. Merce and I really try to make sure Wednesdays are about taking things that people are dealing with every day within retirement and how do you put it into action. And for the last few weeks, we have been entertaining the idea of annuities. We know that is a topic that gets talked about within the world of planning for retirement, in particular retirement income. And we started this out on episode 26, and then we did a part 2 on episode 30. So if you've not heard 26 and you've not heard 30, we encourage you to go back and listen. But I'll just give you a little recap as you're listening to this episode. Really what we talked about, and just as a real brief overview, is that we talked about there's these two major worlds of annuities that are out there. One is called immediate. That's where I transfer money into an insurance product and it converts it from a lump sum to an income stream that I cannot outlive. It's irrevocable. And because of that, a lot of people say, I don't really like that idea of giving up a lump sum of cash. And so the insurance industry as a whole created this idea of what's called a deferred annuity. A deferred annuity is where I can put my money into an annuity and I can defer it into the future and take an income stream on it at some point in the future, or not. I can simply just walk away and not be in the annuity any longer. And within that deferred world, there's two major types of deferred annuities that we are going to talk about. One is variable. That means I'm actually investing in mutual funds in the stock market. Merce and I do not recommend that particular annuity for why we would use them. Remember, if you listen to those episodes, we believe there's really a couple of main reasons why you would use a deferred annuity, and that is as a safe money alternative, and then the second one is income planning. So in order to achieve that, we have to work in the world of fixed deferred annuities. I'm not deferred variable and not the immediate, but deferred annuities that are fixed. And then we talked about the idea of an indexed annuity. Now, in the previous episode, Merce took us through and explained what an annual reset is, basically helping us to appreciate that each year, and it could be, by the way, they have some methods now that are 2 years and 3 years, but this reset methodology means that every period, whether it be 1, 2, or 3 years, I'm going to reset and I'll start over again. But what does that really mean when it comes to how much interest do I get? Well, today we're going to tackle that for a little bit, and we're going to talk about two topics. One is what is called a cap, an index cap, and the other is what's called a participation rate. And we know that we're sharing a lot with you here and that this is just verbal and that you're just listening, but don't worry, we'll be able to help you out further as we go along. But Merce, can you take us through what just take the first one, cap. What does that mean and how would that relate into an interest rate?
Sure. So a cap is basically, it is in all essence, and some people call it this as well, a ceiling on how much you can earn in that annual reset period. So let's say, for instance, an index goes up, I don't know, 10%, and the insurance company may say, well, for this index period, the cap is actually 5% or 7% or 8%. the index goes up 10, well, that's all you can earn is up to that cap. So your earning potential is capped at a certain rate for that 1 year period, or even that 2 or 3 year period, depending on what type of reset you are in. So let me take you through a little example here of a cap. And we'll say that the insurance company has said that the cap for this index for this 1 year point to point reset period is going to be 5%. So the cap is 5%. And you just put in $100,000 into this index. And it's a 1 year point to point, which means every year it's going to reset. And within that 1 year, all we care about is what the index, how it starts and then how it finishes. Ideally, it finishes higher than it has started. So let's go with that example first. So you've got that 100,000 in there, and it's tied to an index, kind of like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow, and there's other indexes out there, but let's just say it's tied to an index for right now. And that index from the beginning period to the end period, that 1 year, the index made 10%. Well, you're in a index annuity and there's a cap there of 5%. So your 100,000 has made some money. It's gone up 5%. So you now have 105,000. Now, here is where the beauty of the annual reset comes into play. You've made it from that 1 year to now you're starting your second year. You've locked in that 5% gain, or those $5,000. So now your 100,000 has now become 105,000, and you're entering into your second year. So what if that index in your second year just crashes, like we have seen this year? The S&P 500 had some issues in March, and it went down at the worst period. It was down 32%. Go to a 2008 scenario, the indexes fell considerably. If you're in the stock market, you're going to feel all of that. You're going to lose some money. Well, the beauty of the fixed index annuity is that fixed word. They basically say that we're guaranteeing that you cannot lose money due to a market downturn. So if the index, whatever index it is, goes down 5, 10, 15, 20%, the worst you can do is earn 0%. So your downside is limited. You cannot go negative. So go back to that example. You started with 100,000. After year one, you made 5%, you're at 105. And now the index plummets, say the index fell 50%. And you've gotten to the end of that second year. Well, you're still at 105,000 because you cannot lose due to a market downturn. Now, another great part about this is, let's say you're in the stock market and you had that 100,000, it lost 50%. Well, you're at 50,000. Now you have to kind of start back over, and hopefully in a few years, you'll get back to that break-even point of 100,000. Well, in the fixed index annuity, you never went backwards. So you're still at 105,000, and go into year 3 and the index does great again. It earns 10% and you're still at the cap of 5%. And so you are now at $110,250 versus being in the stock market. You're probably still, below or underwater from where you were in the previous year. So the cap, I know I just threw some numbers at you, but ultimately the cap is basically how much you can earn on the upside in that annual reset period. Also realizing that you cannot lose anything if the index goes negative.
Yeah, and I just want to add one little point on that. Sometimes people think, oh, I get it. The insurance company puts a cap. If the index makes 10, then the insurance company keeps the 5. But how do they deal with the downside? And let me just say this for simplicity, that is not how it works. The insurance company is not getting the spread, nor are they losing on the downside. They're using, in all essence, futures contracts, and we're not going to go into that today. I just want you to understand that this is something that's been around now for a long time. Billions of dollars have gone into these types of contracts. They are very well proven. Merce and I have used them considerably within our portfolio management style. And it works out really, really nice. And I'll go into that a little bit more. But Merce, thank you for breaking down the cap. Now, there's another word I asked about earlier or mentioned, and that was called participation. So could you describe to us what the participation, how that works as compared to a cap?
Yeah, sure. So the participation is pretty much exactly the way it sounds. It's how much do you participate in that index, meaning once again, just like in the cap scenario, the insurance company set the cap at 5%. Let's say with this index in particular, the insurance company hypothetically set the participation rate at 50%. So you're going to participate 50% of what the index does. So if the index goes up 10%, you'll participate 50% of that, or you'll earn 5%. If the index goes up 20%, you'll get half of that, or you'll get credited 10% to your annuity. Still working in the same arena of that annual reset. So it could be 1, 2, or 3 years. So I'll give you an example once again of how it'd work in just a 1-year annual reset. So you start with that $100,000. The index goes up 10%. Based off of that year, your participation for the year is 50%. So you earn 5% of that 10, or half of that 10. So you've got 105,000. Go again, index falls, same situation, whether it's a cap, whether it's a participation, a spread, or anything like that. At the end of when it comes to a market that is losing, an index that is going through a downturn, no matter what your crediting methodology is, you cannot lose due to an index going negative. So you're at that 105,000, the index falls, you see nothing of that, you're still at 105,000, go to the next year, it goes up again, and you participate 50% of that. So let's say you get 5% again, and you're at 110,250. So 50%, by the way, is just an example for easy math. It can be all over the place depending on what type of indexes we choose. A lot of insurance companies have different indexes out there. Typically, the ones that we like to use are ones that have much higher participations that can actually be 100% of the index, or even maybe 120 or 150% of the index. It all just it all varies on the type of index and what the current offering is, but we'll go into that in another episode as well. But just understand, cap is basically a ceiling as to how much you can earn. Participation is how much are you going to participate as a percentage of what the index has returned.
Very nice. So here's the thing. I want to make sure we bring it back into the picture of what we said. I sometimes people read about annuities and there'll be people who say, why would you ever invest in annuities when you could go get a diversified portfolio? By the way, we manage millions and millions of dollars in the stock market. Merce and I are an avid investors. We make sure that we are looking at the whole picture. And again, a vast majority of our clients and the vast majority of what we manage is actually in the stock market. But the annuities, we feel, are what we would consider to be something like a bond alternative, meaning bonds are something that we would think of that's conservative. We put the fixed index annuities in that arena. We also know it's a place that we can get very good fixed income streams. And so when we're talking about annuities, do not compare the annuities. Do not compare these to the stock market. That's a wrong comparison. We compare them to safe money. We compare to income streams. That's really what the whole purpose of this is. Now, again, like Merce said, we're going to have more on this going forward. But if we're talking about these numbers and you're going, man, I would really love to see how this works, feel free to reach out to us. And the easiest way to do that is to go to our website, which is pomwealth.net. If you go there, you'll be able to see that you can request a phone call conversation with us, a 15-minute phone conversation. We'd be glad to get some numbers. Absolutely no obligation. We'll send you out an illustration. We'll be able to have a little bit of a conversation interaction with you. But if you'd like, you can also call us, or you can send us a text, either way you want to do it. But we just say, if you want to see something on this, feel free to reach out to us. I say this almost, I think, on every show. We want to help. We want to provide answers to your questions. If you feel like you would like to give us some feedback or give us some information that you would think that could help us make the show better, please reach out to us and shoot us a text. We also would appreciate very much if you go to whatever you're listening to us on. We know there's different platforms, but please give us a rating, give us a 5-star rating. We'd really appreciate that, and write us a review and subscribe, because we're going to have future episodes coming out that'll handle all of these different topics around retirement planning. But we hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening.